pro wrestlers often seem to turn to body art, and many of the stars we see in the ring have their body decorated with a number of tattoos. Tattoos are an extremely common sight in the ring, and for the most part they add to the wrestler's image and tend to enhance their look or gimmick. In some unfortunate cases, however, this is definitely not the case. In this list we will talk about wrestlers whose tattoos did nothing for their image, and made things rather awkward for them. In some cases, it was even a stupid decision and removed fast, but in others, the wrestlers are actually proud of these tattoos, which make the fans wonder what they were thinking. One of the best examples of these tattoos is the tattoo CM Punk sports on his left shoulder of the Pepsi logo. Punk is a believer in straight edge style of living, and he follows through that lifestyle in every part of his existence. A gimmick he had in WWE was based on his straight edge roots. But this tattoo of Punk has nothing to do with him being straight edge. A large number of people wondered if Punk had such a love for soft drinks that he decided to have the Pepsi logo tattooed on his arm. The reality of the situation is different, however. The reason that Punk has that tattoo is that he was inspired by the guitarist of his favorite band Minor Threat, who had a Coca-Cola tattoo. Punk decided to get a Pepsi logo as he liked the beverage. And as a result, when Punk's wrestling figure came out, it was often without the Pepsi logo, to of course avoid legal retributions. The Beast, Brock Lesnar, has some impressive tattoos. The one on his back is universally loved and does a lot to add on to the image of the superstar. Lesnar is an amazing, physical, intimidating human being, and possibly one of the toughest men to beat inside the ring. Lesnar never really looked weak, and Paul Heyman did a lot to protect that image. There is one thing Heyman cannot save the Beast from, however, and that is the tattoo that Brock has on his chest. On his bare chest there is a tattoo of a sword that reaches his neck. Brock said that that sword had internal meaning to him, as he got it at a stage of his life when he was going through some issues. He said that he felt someone was holding a sword to his throat, so he went and had it tattooed on permanently. Not the best decision looking back, and it turned out quite ugly, and some people even said it looked phallic in nature. Well, it is difficult to question the Beast, but it remains an ugly tattoo. And Brock, please, please, please don't kill anyone here at Wrestling Hub, especially me, because I didn't write this. You remember Matt Morgan? Well, he was never considered the best wrestler in the world, but he had a ton of raw talent. One of the big men that Vince McMahon hired and pushed immediately simply because he was big, Morgan never stood much of a chance in WWE. The fans did not get behind him, and he was too fresh to be completely capable in the ring. He looked green in the ring and fans jumped on him. And just like that, his push was over and he had to leave the company in a mere 2 years. He had a more successful run in TNA, as he had come to terms with what he could do in the ring. One thing about Morgan that stuck out like a sore thumb was the tattoo on his back. The tattoo is ugly to say the least, and does not even look like it is complete. Inked on by Shannon Moore's Gas Chamber ink, it was simply, well, not good enough, looking like an incomplete skull and lacking enough ink. The question has even been posed to Matt Morgan himself: what is that tattoo supposed to be? Morgan responded by saying that it was a face when he looked fierce, and it was a representation of him in the ring. Nice. It doesn't seem hard to bash this tattoo and wonder what the animal was thinking when he got it. Dave Bautista was one of the top WWE wrestlers during his time with the company, and since he has left, he has risen to prominence by being cast in some amazing film roles. What is not amazing is something else completely different. The animal is covered with tattoos, and most of his work is beautiful and reflects his spirit. His physique goes well with the tattoos that he has, and he really looks quite badass. The one tattoo that goes a long way in dispelling this image is the one around his belly button. Yes, there is a belly button tattoo that surrounds Batista's belly button in the form of a ring. It takes away from the image and the badassery of it all that the animal exudes. It's also one of the biggest eyesores because once you notice it, you really can't look away from it. It's almost kind of like it starts to look at you. Undertaker is not a man that can be easily connected to hasty decisions. As one of the most respected stars in WWE by both fans and wrestling insiders, Undertaker has a spotless reputation. But in this one case, he seems to have faltered. The Undertaker was in love with his wife Sarah, and to prove his dedication to her, he had her name tattooed permanently onto his throat. The tattoo itself must have been one of the most painful experiences of the dead man's career. But what must have been more painful was when he and Sarah separated. His wife gone, but the tattoo lingered on. until he had to go and have it removed by laser surgery. The removal had been one even more painful, and he replaced the tattoo with another. He had learned from his mistakes, and it would not be the name of his current wife, Michelle McCool. A tattoo is not something that anyone should take lightly. There is the need to have it retouched every so often, otherwise the ink will fade and it just doesn't look as cool as when you first got it. One of the best examples of this is Christian. Now, it is even difficult to tell what it is that's tattooed on his shoulder, as it just looks like a blob of ink that makes no sense to the naked eye. After further examination from a close-up perspective, there is a certain resemblance to a bulldog with a rose in its mouth. Said like that, it makes even less sense, but unless Christian gets it touched up, the tattoo looks dead and not like a piece of art. The peeps would love it if Captain Charisma took better care of the commitment made with the tattoo. Braun Strowman is a monster among men, at least that's what WWE likes you to think. The former bodybuilder is one of the most intimidating presences within the ring, and has destroyed anyone that has come face to face with him in the company. Very few have been spared from his monstrous rages, but Strowman in real life is actually an extremely sweet human being, as hard as it might be to believe. He works in WWE's charities and said that his favorite part of being a wrestler is seeing the smiles on the faces of small children. True to form on his right bicep, Strowman does not have a monster tattoo, but he has a Superman logo. While this by itself does not sound bad and actually sounds sweet, that is not all there is to the tattoo. The Superman tattoo is set on a tribal design. Okay, that is worse, isn't it? Oh, but wait, it's not over. Strowman is not done with this yet. The tribal design is set on drawings of sheet metal. While individually, any of those tattoos can look cool, put together they definitely do not. In fact, they look like a monstrous mess up. Baron Corbin has not had the best 2017 in WWE. After being pushed as one of the top men on the roster, Baron has won and lost the US title. He has won but failed to successfully cash in Money in the Bank, and altogether lost too many matches. That being said, all is not lost, and the Lone Wolf can possibly look forward to a bright future in WWE. The one thing that sticks out about him, other than his losses, well, it's the tattoo on his chest. Well, we could probably put more of his tattoos on here, but we're focusing on the one on his chest. His body is full of birds, clouds, cages, and stars, and finally a caged heart. The tattoos are not ugly at all though. The tattoos are definitely pretty, and when you are trying to be one of the fiercest competitors in WWE, if you have a pretty tattoo, well, you get to wear a shirt in the ring. Sorry, Baron. The Rock is a wrestler better known in the world than Hulk Hogan, and that is saying something. One of the only wrestlers to have left WWE to have an extremely successful acting career. The People's Champion has always been the king of spoken word, and with his raised eyebrow, has had the wrestling look down to the last inch. The Rock has had the Brahma Bull tattoo on his right bicep for most of his career, and it was a tattoo that enhanced his persona and added to his gimmick. Unfortunately, he decided to have his tattoo upgraded.
Alright, back in LA, and back with my boy, world renowned, one of the best in the world, tattoo artist Nico Hurtado.
This guy is too nice.
We're finishing up this tattoo. There's so much obviously involved, one of which is the mana, one of which is what he's on right now is the horns. Specifically, the horns represent, as a lot of you guys know, forward momentum, progress. Now that Nico has been working on this bone right here in my shoulder, it also represents, what's that? Oh, fucking pain. Yes.
Don't kick my ass, bro.
A lot of that pain. But here's the problem. The problem is I like it.
And that had a devastating effect on what was a classic. The new and improved bull, frankly, is terrifying and looks like a zombie bull you might see on The Walking Dead. The entire tattoo seems overdone, and there is way too much ink there. While The Rock is and will remain one of the most respected performers of all time, his taste in tattoos can be questioned. And these were 10 wrestlers with bad looking tattoos. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Thank you so much for watching Wrestling Hub. If you have any more wrestlers that you think have bad tattoos, put them in the comments, I'll read them. Anyways, like I said, have a great day, and I'll see you later with more wrestling videos.